A few months ago, I had coffee with a friend named Min, a smart, ambitious guy who always seemed one good decision away from changing his life. But as we talked, I realized something. Min wasn't being held back by a lack of opportunities. He was being held back by his own bad habits in decision-making. He'd jump on the first idea that sounded exciting, only to abandon it a week later. He'd say yes to projects without checking if they aligned with his goals. He'd let a single bad mood or small setback derail an entire plan. And the worst part? He didn't even realize he was doing it. The truth is, we all have these hidden patterns. Maybe it's overthinking until the chance passes. Maybe it's chasing shiny distractions instead of the boring but essential work. Maybe it's making emotional choices in moments when we should be rational. These bad habits in decision-making don't just waste time. They compound over months and years, quietly shaping a life we never intended to live. Min's turning point came after he lost a big client, not because he didn't have the skills, but because he took too long to respond to their proposal. He kept asking for just one more day to think things through until the client went with someone else. That night, scrolling through an old book of quotes, he stumbled on this from Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It hit him that clarity in decision-making isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing your principles so deeply that choices become obvious. The Stoics believe that indecision, impulse, and distraction are all signs of a mind that hasn't yet learned to master itself. And if you can't master your mind, you can't master your life. In this video, we're going to explore the silent ways bad habits corrupt our decisions, how Stoic wisdom cuts through the noise, and 3 simple practices to start making choices with more clarity, courage, and purpose. Because when you remove the fog from your decision-making, you don't just make better choices, you build a better life. We don't always notice the cost of our bad decision-making habits in the moment, and that's what makes them so dangerous. One wrong decision doesn't ruin a life, just like one unhealthy meal doesn't ruin a body. But bad habits in how we choose, repeated over months, years, decades, shape the direction of our entire journey. Think of every choice like a single step. Even 1 or 2 degrees off course might seem harmless today, but walk that path long enough and you'll end up somewhere completely different from where you intended. I've seen it happen to entrepreneurs who constantly chase the next big thing instead of finishing what they start. To talented employees who always say yes out of fear of missing out, spreading themselves so thin they never truly excel at anything. To friends who make financial decisions in the heat of emotion, panic selling investments during a dip, or splurging on something flashy instead of building security. These bad habits are subtle thieves. They steal not just money or time, but also confidence. Every time we choose impulsively and regret it, we chip away at our trust in ourselves. And when you stop trusting your own judgment, you start hesitating. You overthink simple choices. You hand your decisions over to others. Or worse, you do nothing, letting life choose for you. Min's client loss was a perfect example. The cost wasn't just the money from that deal, it was the ripple effect. His confidence took a hit. He started doubting every email, every pitch. Opportunities came and went while he second-guessed himself. What's even scarier is how these patterns hide in plain sight. We justify them. I just need more information. I'm waiting for the right time. I want to be thorough. And yes, preparation is good, but hesitation born from fear is not preparation. It's paralysis. The Stoics understood this danger. They saw that every wasted decision, whether from overthinking, underthinking, or not thinking at all, is a piece of your life you can never get back. Seneca said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The cost of bad decision-making habits isn't measured only in lost deals or missed promotions. It's measured in dreams that quietly die, in potential that never sees the light of day, in years lived on autopilot. And the most painful part? Often we don't even realize the life we lost could have been ours, until it's too late. The Stoics believed that clarity in decision-making wasn't a gift you were born with, it was a skill you trained, like a muscle. And just like any skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. They lived by a simple but powerful idea. Control what you can, accept what you can't. Focus on the difference. To them, the worst choices were often made when people confuse those three. How many times have we stressed over something completely outside our control? The economy, someone else's opinion, a rumor, and let that anxiety push us into rash action. Marcus Aurelius faced political upheaval, plagues, even wars, yet his journal, the Meditations, is filled not with panic, but with reminders to himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That's not just philosophy, that's decision-making armor. When you know what's yours to control, you strip away noise. You don't waste energy on what-ifs you can't change, and you put your full focus on the levers you can pull. The Stoics also valued stillness before action. Epictetus taught that the space between an event and your reaction is where your freedom lies. In modern life, that space is exactly where most of our bad decision-making habits hijack us. We fill it with impulse, refreshing our email, making the purchase, sending the angry text, instead of letting clarity settle in. For the Stoics, stillness wasn't laziness. It was preparation. It was the pause that let you see reality without the fog of ego, fear, or desire. And here's the part most people miss. Stoic decision-making wasn't about being emotionless. It was about ensuring emotions served reason, not the other way around. Seneca warned that uncontrolled emotions are like wild horses. They can carry you far, but often in the wrong direction. The goal isn't to suppress your feelings, but to train them, align them, and harness them toward the outcome you value most. When you combine these Stoic principles, decision-making stops being reactive and becomes intentional. Imagine how different your choices would be if, before every major move, you asked, "Is this within my control? Am I seeing it clearly, without distortion? Does this choice align with my values, not just my mood?" That's the kind of mental discipline that prevents the slow bleed of bad habits from draining your potential. The Stoics knew that your life's trajectory is simply the sum of your decisions, and your decisions are the sum of your mind's clarity in the moment you make them. Strip away the noise, master the pause, and guide your emotions, and suddenly your path forward isn't clouded by impulse or fear. It's lit by intention. That's when decisions stop feeling like gambles and start feeling like craftsmanship. The Stoics weren't content with simply talking about wisdom. They lived it, turning philosophy into a daily operating system for the mind. If you want to break free from the bad habits that cloud your judgment, you can start by adopting 3 simple but life-changing Stoic practices for better decision-making. The first is what I call the view from above. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself to zoom out, to see life from a higher vantage point, as if rising above the city, above the noise, above the moment. From up there, your problems shrink to scale. The argument you had, the email that stressed you out, the fear about tomorrow's meeting, they all become dots on a much larger map. This shift does something powerful. It weakens the emotional pull of the moment, letting logic breathe. The next time you face a tough decision, take a moment to imagine yourself looking down from 1,000 feet in the air, or even from the edge of space. Ask yourself, in the scope of my entire life, will this matter in a week, a year, a decade? Often the urgency you feel is an illusion created by your emotions. The view from above is how you pierce through that illusion. The second practice is the pause before the leap. Epictetus taught that between stimulus and response lies a sacred pause, the space where freedom lives. In our world, where notifications and pressures hit us like machine gun fire, that pause is often the first casualty of modern life. We go from trigger to action without giving the mind time to weigh options. The Stoics knew that rushing decisions often meant serving emotions rather than reason. So they practiced building in space, even a few seconds before responding. Think about it. How many regrets in your life come from acting too quickly, from saying yes when you should have said no, from firing off a message you wish you could take back? The pause before the leap is your insurance policy against these mistakes. It's as simple as taking a breath, counting to 3, or telling yourself, "Let me sleep on it." That pause doesn't make you slow, it makes you precise. And precision is what separates a hasty reaction from a wise choice. The third practice is memento mori for decisions. Memento mori means remember you must die. And for the Stoics, it wasn't morbid, it was liberating. It reminded them that time is the most precious currency and that every choice is a trade. You're spending piece of your finite life. When you see decisions through that lens, you automatically raise the bar on what you say yes to. If a decision doesn't align with your deepest values, if it doesn't move you toward the person you want to be, why would you spend a piece of your one life on it? Seneca warned that people guard their money fiercely but squander their time freely. Yet time is the one thing you can never get back. Memento mori strips away the illusion of infinite tomorrows and forces you to weigh decisions in the light of what truly matters. This is especially powerful against the bad habits that eat away at our potential. The procrastination, the overcommitment, the chasing of things that don't actually fulfill us. When you put these three practices together, something profound happens. The view from above gives you perspective, so you don't get lost in the weeds of the moment. The pause before the leap gives you clarity, so you're not a prisoner of impulse. And memento mori for decisions gives you urgency, so you're choosing with your whole life in mind. Imagine a version of yourself who lives like this for a year. No more reacting blindly. No more drowning in decisions that don't matter. No more giving away your time to things unworthy of it. That's the Stoic way. Not to eliminate emotion, but to make emotion serve wisdom. Not to avoid decisions, but to make them with such clarity and alignment that they feel almost inevitable. An example? Think of someone offered a high-paying job in a toxic company. The old pattern, the bad habit, might be to say yes instantly because of the money. But with the view from above, they see how this decision fits into the bigger picture of their life, a life they don't want to fill with stress and politics. With the pause before the leap, they give themselves time to consider alternatives, to talk it through, to sleep on it. And with memento mori, they realize that spending years of their finite life in misery for a paycheck is a poor trade. The result? They make the harder, wiser choice to wait for an opportunity that aligns with their values. That's not just decision-making. That's self-mastery. The beauty of Stoic practices is that they're not about becoming someone else. They're about becoming the clearest, truest version of yourself. You don't have to be an emperor or a philosopher to use them. You can start tonight with your next decision. Will you respond to that email right now or give yourself the pause? Will you commit to that project or step back and view it from above? Will you trade a week, a month, a year of your life for something you don't actually believe in? These are the moments where the Stoic path isn't abstract. It's practical, immediate, and deeply human. Because in the end, life is just a series of decisions. And decisions, repeated over time, become your habits. And habits, good or bad, become your destiny. The Stoics knew this, and they lived it, crafting lives of purpose one choice at a time. You can too if you're willing to break the bad habits that cloud your mind, embrace the practices that sharpen your vision, and start treating every decision like it matters. Because it does. Bad decision-making habits aren't just small mistakes. They're quiet thieves of your future. Every hasty yes, every fear-driven no, every choice made without clarity is a vote for the life you don't want. The Stoics understood that each day is a battlefield of the mind, and the way you decide today shapes the life you wake up to tomorrow. You don't have to overhaul your entire way of thinking overnight. In fact, the Stoics would warn against chasing instant perfection. Instead, start with one decision, one pause, one moment of clarity. Maybe tonight it's choosing to review your commitments before adding another. Maybe tomorrow it's catching yourself before you react to an email in anger. Maybe it's taking just 60 seconds to apply the view from above before saying yes to something that will cost you years. Remember Marcus Aurelius' reminder, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That strength comes from slowing down, from aligning your choices with your values, and from seeing every decision as a precious slice of your one and only life. The next time you face a choice, ask yourself, will this matter in 10 years? Is this worth a piece of my life? Does this align with who I want to be? Because in the end, our destiny is not shaped by the rare, massive decisions. It's built on the small, repeated ones we make every single day. Protect your clarity, guard your time, and make decisions as if your future self is watching. Because they are. And they will either thank you or regret you. Start now. Your most clear, powerful, and purposeful life begins with the very next decision you make.